August 28, 2018. White House in turmoil after sealed indictment issued for arrest of former U.S. Vice President Joe Biden. Just days after President Donald Trump shocked the entire world by his meeting with Lionel, the main advocate of a mysterious believed to be secret military group named Canon, whose revelations of over 40,000 sealed indictments have left in terror the entire U.S. shadow government deep state. A beyond stunning new Ministry of Foreign Affairs MOFA report circulating in the Kremlin today outlining the points to be discussed between Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov and U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo during their upcoming meeting at the United Nations notes that its main focus will be centered on a sealed indictment issued for the arrest of former United States Vice President Joseph Biden for his criminal involvement in what is known as the Burisma Holdings scandal, and whose pending arrest now sees the White House in turmoil over their not fully knowing what its reverberations might be. Note some words and/or phrases appearing in quotes in this report are English-language approximations of Russian words, phrases having no exact counterpart. According to this report, one of the most serious concerns of Foreign Minister Lavrov over this past year has been the joke indictment issued by Special Counsel Robert Mueller against Russian companies and individuals, comically alleging that they interfered in the 2016 U.S. presidential election that stands opposed to the true meddlers of this election, exposed by FBI Special Agent Jonathan Moffat, who just told the U.S. Congress that the FBI has used leaked stories to obtain FISA warrants. Pentagon whistleblower Adam Lovinger, likewise, exposing that the Trump campaign was illegally spied on by CIA operatives planted into it by Obama's corrupt FBI and the U.S. intelligence community. Inspector General ISAG revealing that virtually all of Hillary Clinton's emails were stolen by Chinese intelligence, all of which, just hours ago, caused Lavrov to erupt and declare, "Can anyone truly believe that a restaurant owner from Russia could influence an election in such a powerful country as the United States by publishing some posts on social media?" The idea itself makes the entire U.S. political system look ridiculous by presenting democracy there as a house of cards. Most particularly angering Foreign Minister Lavrov about the United States, this report continues, was his being told this past week by Secretary of the Security Council Nikolai Patrushev that all of the events now occurring in Washington are nothing as they appear, with Patrushev noting, after his meeting with U.S. National Security Advisor John Bolton last week in Geneva, that forces loyal to President Trump were playing a long game against their deep state enemies by their leveraging the U.S. federal legal system, and explains why former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort didn't even bother to defend himself against Special Counsel Mueller, as the jokingly indicted Russian company Concord Management has embarked on legal course to throw Special Counsel Mueller out of office, that would immediately overturn everything he's done, while at the same time, Trump's legal forces are nearing another legal ruling that would forbid Mueller from ever being able to make his findings public. And upon Lavrov understanding that a Russian company and its owner were being used as pawns in this game, slammed it as being nothing but a mockery of American democracy. Note: unlike anyone else Special Counsel Robert Mueller has indicted, the Russian company Concord Management case is the only one able to expedite its appeal challenging the constitutionality of Mueller's appointment to the U.S. Court of Appeals that it's now doing, and the U.S. Supreme Court. In our reading this MOFA report about Foreign Minister Lavrov's growing anger of the Americans' treatment of Russian company Concord Management, we were prepared to write you a report about it until we noticed it containing a small footnote referencing an addition made to the minutes of the August 22, 2018 Security Council SC meeting, wherein it was documented that a top former Deutsche Bank official named Robert Khuzami, who worked with Trump to secure an over $650 million loan, was approved by President Trump to be a U.S. Deputy Attorney General. Upon U.S. Deputy Attorney General Khuzami assuming office, in January 2018, the Security Council had previously detailed, and as we reported on in our report, U.S. mainstream media plunges mindlessly into masterful Trump trap, not knowing that it spells their own doom, how he was unleashed against former Trump attorney Michael Cohen, and that was due to President Trump discovering that Cohen had embarked upon a scheme to use his White House access for personal gain, but that today's MoFA report stunningly reveals wasn't even close to the most shocking case Kazami is working on, and whose shocking revelations about are contained in a barely noticed May 16, 2018 U.S. Department of Justice press release authorized by U.S. Deputy Attorney General Robert Kazami, titled "Former CEO of Two Investment Advisors Pleads Guilty to Defrauding a Native American Tribe and Various Investors," and whose most devastating words that led to the sealed indictment being issued against former United States Vice President Joseph Biden are: from March 2014 through April 2016, Morton, along with her co-conspirators Jason Galanis, John Galanis, A/K/A Yanni, Hugh Dunkerley, Gary Hurst, Devon Archer, and Bevan Cooney, engaged in a fraudulent scheme to misappropriate the proceeds of bonds issued by the Wakpami Lake Community Corporation, WLCC, a Native American tribal entity, the tribal bonds, and to use funds in the accounts of clients of asset management firms controlled by Morton and others to purchase the tribal bonds, which the clients were then unable to redeem or sell because the bonds were illiquid and lacked a ready secondary market. As for the defendants who have not pled guilty, John Galanis, Devon Archer, and Bevan Cooney, the description of the charges set forth herein constitute only allegations. Though not known to the masses of the American people, this report says, U.S. Deputy Attorney Kazami, in publicly naming Devon Archer as an unindicted co-conspirator, whom, without a doubt, is fully cooperating with the U.S. Department of Justice, rather than spend the rest of his life in prison, has struck a knife straight into the very heart of the deep state, as Archer, far from being an ordinary criminal, is the longtime business partner of Hunter Biden, the son of former U.S. Vice President Joseph Biden, and Chris Hines, the stepson of former U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry, the two highest-ranked officials of Obama-Clinton regime. Beginning in the summer of 2009, shortly after President Obama had taken power, this report details, Devon Archer, Hunter Biden and Chris Hines established a series of related companies, with the trunk of the tree being Rosemont Capital, the alternative investment fund of the Hines family office, and Rosemont Farm being the name of the Hines family's 90-acre estate outside Fox Chapel, Pennsylvania, and that joined forces in doing business in China with another politically connected consultancy called the Thornton Group. A Massachusetts-based firm is headed by James Bulger, the nephew of the notorious mob hitman James Whitey Bulger, and whose fortunes soared into the billions of dollars. Vastly aiding the fortunes of Devon Archer, Hunter Biden and Chris Hines, this report notes, was the Obama regime's overthrowing the legitimately elected government of Ukraine in 2014, and that the global intelligence firm Stratfor, known as the Shadow CIA, declared was the most blatant coup in history, and immediately after which saw Hunter Biden being appointed as a director of the Ukrainian private natural gas producer Burisma Holdings, that is owned by Ukraine billionaire oligarch Nikolai Zlochevsky, who is best known for thwarting all criminal investigations against him, and saw no problem whatsoever in making Hunter Biden a director, even though Biden had been thrown out of the U.S. Navy for drug use, and is the type of person one would expect being hired to manage billions of dollars in the alternative universe these criminals live in. In the weeks just prior to U.S. Deputy Attorney General Kazami naming Devon Archer as an unindicted co-conspirator, this report continues, the noted American investigative journalist Peter Schweitzer released a barely publicized book titled Secret Empires: How the American Political Class Hides Corruption and Enriches Family, that details, using U.S. government records and documents that could only have been obtained from Trump loyalists, how Devon Archer, Hunter Biden and Chris Hines created their Rosemont Capital to be a Clinton Foundation on steroids, with it being fully detailed how foreign visits made by both Vice President Biden and Secretary of State Kerry were rapidly followed by massive infusions of cash into Rosemont Capital that is known as a pay-to-play scheme. This report concludes with Mossad intelligence analysts noting their grave concerns relating to the information Devon Archer is spilling forth to U.S. Deputy Attorney General Kazemi that led to former Vice President Biden having a sealed indictment issued against him, but upon whose arrest would ignite a firestorm against President Trump, whose deep state enemies would claim he is turning America into a dictatorship that unjustly jails its political opponents, but that Trump, apparently, doesn't fear at all as he prepares to finish off of his enemies, no matter what the cost to either himself or his nation.